My name is Dorothy Williams, and I'm 73 years old. I've lived a long life, seen many things, and thought I understood how family worked. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for what happened on Thanksgiving Day 2023. The day I sat alone in my daughter's empty house for 6 hours, slowly realizing that the invitation was never meant for me at all. Let me tell you something right now before we go any further. If you're watching this, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button right there. Click it. And then hit the like button too, because this story is going to take you on a journey you won't forget. Turn on those notifications, that little bell, so you never miss stories like mine. Real stories. Powerful stories about real grandmas like me who have been through things you wouldn't believe. And drop a comment right now telling me where you're watching from. What state? What country? I want to know who's here with me today, who's listening. Because I need to know I'm not alone in this. That somewhere out there, somebody understands what it feels like when your own family does you wrong. Now, back to that Thanksgiving day. I remember sitting on that cold leather couch in my daughter Vanessa's living room, my good purse on my lap, still wearing my coat even though the house was warm. The clock on the wall said 4:47 p.m. I'd been there since 10:30 in the morning. 6 hours. 6 hours of sitting, waiting, listening to that clock tick. The turkey I'd brought, a 20-pound bird I'd saved up for 3 months to buy, sat in the kitchen, still in its plastic bag, getting warm on the counter. My homemade sweet potato casserole, the one with the pecans on top that my grandkids used to beg for, was in a dish beside it, the foils starting to wrinkle. Nobody came. Not Vanessa, not her husband Marcus, not my 2 grandchildren Asia and Jordan, not Vanessa's sister Rochelle, nobody. The house was silent, except for that clock and my own breathing. I kept checking my phone. The invitation was right there in my text messages. I read it again for maybe the 100th time that day. Mama, we'd love for you to come to Thanksgiving this year. Come early, around 10:30, so we can spend the whole day together. Can't wait to see you. Read. That message was from Vanessa, my own daughter, sent 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. I had replied immediately. I'll be there, baby. Thank you for including me. She sent back a heart emoji. That was it. That was all I needed. An invitation from my daughter. A chance to be with my family on the holidays. A chance to not spend another Thanksgiving alone in my tiny apartment, eating a frozen dinner and watching other people's families on TV. See, let me back up a bit. Let me tell you how things got to this point. My husband, Robert, passed away 4 years ago. Heart attack. Sudden. One day he was here, laughing at the TV, complaining about his back, asking what was for dinner. The next day he was gone, just like that. 46 years of marriage over in a moment. After Robert died, things changed with my daughters. Vanessa and Rochelle started pulling away. At first, I understood. They had their own lives, their own families, jobs, kids, busy, busy, busy. But then the calls got shorter. Then they stopped calling altogether. I was always the one reaching out, always the one texting first, always the one asking, can I see the grandkids? Can I come visit? Can we have Sunday dinner? The answers were always the same. We're so busy, Mama. Maybe next month, Mama. Things are just crazy right now, Mama. Next month never came. I saw my grandchildren maybe 3 times in the past 2 years. 3 times. Asia is 16 now. Jordan is 13. They barely knew me anymore. When I did see them, they looked at me like I was a stranger. Polite, but distant. Like I was some old lady they had to be nice to, not their grandmother who used to braid Asia's hair and teach Jordan how to make pancakes. It broke my heart. But I kept hopping, kept praying, kept telling myself that family was family and eventually things would get better. So when Vanessa sent that Thanksgiving invitation, I cried. I actually cried. Happy tears, relief tears, tears that said, finally, finally my daughter still loves me. Finally, I get to be part of the family again. I started preparing immediately. I took the bus to 3 different stores to find the perfect turkey. I used the grocery money I'd been saving to buy all the ingredients for my sweet potato casserole. I even bought a new blouse, a pretty blue one with little flowers on it, from the thrift store because I wanted to look nice. I wanted my family to see that I still cared about myself, that I was still here, still strong. Thanksgiving morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. I cooked that turkey at my apartment, even though I was supposed to bring it raw, because I wanted to help. I wanted to contribute. I wanted Vanessa to see how much I appreciated being invited. I wrapped everything carefully. I took 2 buses to get to Vanessa's house in the suburbs. The bus ride took an hour and 20 minutes. I didn't mind. I was going to see my family. I arrived at exactly 10:28 a.m., 2 minutes early. The house was dark. No cars in the driveway, no lights on, nothing. I stood on that porch for a long moment, confused. Maybe they were running late. Maybe they went to pick something up. I tried the door, unlocked. That should have been my first warning sign. Vanessa never left her door unlocked. Never. She was always so careful about security, always talking about break-ins and how you couldn't trust anybody anymore. But I pushed that worry aside. I stepped inside, calling out, "Hello, Vanessa, it's Mama, I'm here." Silence. The house was clean, too clean, like nobody had been there in days. No decorations, no smell of cooking, no signs of Thanksgiving preparations at all. I walked through the living room, the dining room, the kitchen. Nothing, nobody. I tried calling Vanessa's phone. It rang and rang, then went to voicemail. I left a message. "Baby, I'm here at your house. Where are you? Call me back." I tried Rochelle. Same thing, voicemail. I tried Marcus, Vanessa's husband. Voicemail. My stomach started to feel tight. Something was wrong. But I told myself to stay calm. Maybe there was traffic. Maybe there was an emergency. Maybe they were on their way and would explain everything when they got here. So I sat down on that couch, and I waited. 10:45 a.m., still waiting. 11:30 a.m., still waiting. 12:15 p.m., still waiting. I kept calling. Nobody answered. Around 1 p.m., I started to feel foolish. Like maybe I'd gotten the date wrong. But no, I checked my phone again. The message clearly said Thanksgiving. Today. Come early, around 10:30, so we can spend the whole day together. That's what it said. By 2 p.m., my feet were hurting from my good shoes. I took them off and rubbed my ankles. I was hungry, but I didn't want to eat the food I'd brought. That was for dinner, for the family meal, for when everyone arrived. By 3 p.m., I started to feel something else, something dark and cold in my chest, a feeling I didn't want to name. By 4 p.m., I was crying, quiet tears that I wiped away with my sleeve. My new blouse was getting wrinkled from sitting so long. And then at 4:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. Finally. I grabbed it so fast I almost dropped it. A text message from Rochelle. My hands shook as I opened it. What I read made my whole body go cold. The message said, "Mama, why are you at Vanessa's house?" I stared at those words, read them again, again. Why was I at Vanessa's house? What kind of question was that? I typed back with trembling fingers. Because Vanessa invited me for Thanksgiving. Where is everybody? The 3 little dots appeared. Rochelle was typing. My heart pounded. Then her response came through. "Mama, we're all at MY house. We're having Thanksgiving here. We've been here since noon." I stopped breathing. I read it again. We're all at MY house. All of them. Vanessa, Marcus, the kids, everyone. At Rochelle's house. Having Thanksgiving. Without me. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Rochelle. "Vanessa said she told you the dinner was at my place this year. You must have gotten confused. It's okay, Mama. We know you're getting older." Getting confused. Getting older. I scrolled up to Vanessa's invitation. Read it word by word. "Mama, we'd love for you to come to Thanksgiving this year. Come early, around 10:30, so we can spend the whole day together." Nowhere did it say Rochelle's house. It said nothing about the location changing. Nothing. And then, as I sat there in that empty, silent house, something clicked in my brain. The unlocked door. The dark, empty house. The invitation that brought me here early, at 10:30 a.m., hours before a normal Thanksgiving dinner. They knew. They knew I'd come here. They knew I'd be sitting here waiting. And they went somewhere else. On purpose. This wasn't confusion. This wasn't a mistake. This was planned. My daughter had sent me to an empty house on Thanksgiving, while the whole family gathered somewhere else. My phone buzzed again. Vanessa this time. "Sorry for the confusion, Mama. You can come to Rochelle's if you want. We're almost done eating, but there might be leftovers." Leftovers. They were almost done eating. It was 4:52 p.m. now. I'd been sitting in this empty house for over 6 hours. And my daughter was offering me leftovers. I looked down at my phone, at that cold, casual message, and something inside me that had been bending and bending for years finally snapped. I stood up from that couch. My legs were stiff. My good shoes were on the floor. My purse was still on my lap. And I realized something that made my blood run cold and hot at the same time. This wasn't the first time. This wasn't just today. This was a pattern, a plan, a message they'd been sending me for years that I'd been too hopeful, too loving, too desperate to see. They didn't want me around. But as I stood there in that empty living room, with my cold turkey on the counter and my wrinkled blouse and my aching feet, I made a decision. I wasn't going to Rochelle's house. I wasn't going to sit there and eat leftovers while they all looked at me with pity or worse, with nothing at all. I was going to find out exactly why my daughters did this to me. And when I found out the truth, the real truth, everything was going to change. Because Dorothy Williams didn't raise her daughters to be cruel. And if they'd forgotten who I was, what I'd sacrificed, what I'd survived to give them the lives they had, well, they were about to remember. I picked up my phone one more time and typed a message to both my daughters. "I'm not confused. I know exactly what happened today, and we're going to talk about it soon." Then I gathered my things, put on my shoes, and walked out of that house. I didn't know it yet, but that walk out the door was the beginning of everything. The beginning of the truth. And the truth was worse than I ever imagined. Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, like, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I didn't go home that night. I know that sounds strange. A 73-year-old woman wandering around on Thanksgiving evening instead of going back to her apartment. But I couldn't face those empty walls. Not yet. Not with my heart breaking into 1,000 pieces and my mind spinning with questions that had no good answers. Instead, I took the bus to the one place that always made sense to me, the one place where I could think clearly. Riverside Park. It was getting dark by the time I got there, around 5:30 p.m. The park was almost empty, just a few joggers and dog walkers. I found my favorite bench, the one under the big oak tree overlooking the water, and I sat down. The turkey and the casserole were still in my bags, getting cold now, ruined, just like my Thanksgiving. I sat there for a long time, watching the sun go down, trying to make sense of what had happened. My phone kept buzzing. Messages from Vanessa and Rochelle. I didn't read them. Not yet. I wasn't ready. Instead, I let my mind go back, way back, to when my daughters were little girls. I remembered Vanessa at 6 years old, crying because she fell off her bike and scraped her knee. I was the one who picked her up, cleaned the wound, put on the bandage, kissed it better. I was the one who got back on that bike with her, holding the seat, running alongside her until she could ride on her own. I remembered Rochelle at 8, so shy she couldn't even order her own food at restaurants. I was the one who gently encouraged her, who practiced with her at home, who celebrated when she finally found her voice. I gave those girls everything, everything. Robert and I worked 2 jobs each to make sure they had what they needed. I sewed their clothes when money was tight. I walked 2 miles to the cheaper grocery store to save $10. I went without new shoes for 3 years so they could have new school uniforms. When Vanessa wanted to go to college, we didn't have the money. But I took on a 3rd job, cleaning offices at night, so she could go. 4 years of scrubbing toilets and mopping floors at 11 p.m., getting home at 2 a.m., then waking up at 6 a.m. to go to my day job. I did it without complaining, without asking for thanks, because that's what mothers do. When Rochelle got pregnant at 19, unmarried and scared, who stood by her? Who helped her through it? Who watched the baby so she could finish school? Me. Always me. And Robert, God rest his soul, we did it together. So sitting on that bench, watching the last light fade from the sky, I asked myself the question that was tearing me apart. What did I do wrong? What did I do to make my daughters treat me like this? My phone buzzed again. This time I looked. Vanessa, Mama, please answer, you're worrying us. I almost laughed, worrying them. Now they were worried. Another message from Rochelle. Mama, where are you? It's getting late, just come to my house. We saved you a plate. Saved me a plate. Like I was a stray dog they were throwing scraps to. I put my phone on silent and closed my eyes. That's when I heard a voice. Mrs. Williams, is that you? I opened my eyes. Standing in front of me was a young woman, maybe 30 years old, wearing a jogging outfit. It took me a moment to recognize her. Tasha, I said. Tasha Drummond. She used to live in my building, 3 doors down before she moved out about a year ago. Sweet girl, always respectful, always stopped to chat when we ran into each other. Mrs. Williams, what are you doing out here so late? She asked, genuine concern in her voice. And on Thanksgiving. Something about her kindness, her real concern, not the fake worry in my daughter's text messages, broke something open in me. I started crying, right there on that bench. Big, ugly tears that I couldn't hold back anymore. Tasha sat down next to me immediately. Oh, Mrs. Williams, what's wrong? What happened? And I told her everything, the invitation, the empty house, the 6 hours of waiting, the discovery that my family was somewhere else, all of it. Tasha listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something I'll never forget. Mrs. Williams, that's not confusion. That's cruelty. Cruelty. The word hung in the air between us. They did that on purpose, Tasha continued, her voice angry now. They sent you to an empty house. They knew you'd be there waiting, and they all went somewhere else together. That's not a mistake. That's deliberate. Hearing someone else say it, someone outside the family, made it real in a way it hadn't been before. But why? I whispered. Why would they do that to me? Tasha shook her head. I don't know, Mrs. Williams, but I know you don't deserve it. You've always been nothing but kind. I remember when my car broke down last year and I couldn't get to work, you let me borrow your emergency money. You didn't even know me that well. I had forgotten about that. It was only $50. She paid me back the next week. That's just what neighbors do, I said. No, Tasha said firmly. That's what good people do, and your daughters should know what kind of mother they have. We sat there for a while longer. Tasha offered to drive me home. She'd given up jogging and wanted to make sure I got back safely. I accepted. In the car, she said something else that stuck with me. Mrs. Williams, sometimes people show you who they really are, and when they do, you have to believe them, even if they're family. She dropped me off at my apartment building around 7 p.m. I thanked her, gathered my ruined food, and rode the elevator up to the 4th floor. My apartment was exactly how I'd left it that morning. Small, quiet, empty. I put the turkey and casserole in the refrigerator, even though they'd been sitting out too long and probably weren't safe to eat anymore. I couldn't throw them away. Not yet. They represented too much hope, too much effort, too much pain. Then I sat down in my worn armchair, Robert's chair, the one I kept even though it didn't match anything, and I finally looked at my phone. 23 missed calls, 37 text messages. I started reading. Most of them were from Vanessa and Rochelle, variations on the same theme. Where are you? We're worried. Please answer. Come to Rochelle's house. But there was one message, sent at 6:47 p.m. that made my heart stop. It was from Marcus, Vanessa's husband. Ma, I'm sorry about today. I told Vanessa this was wrong, but you know how she is. She doesn't listen to me anymore. She doesn't listen to anyone. I think you should know something. There's more to this than you realize. Can we talk, just you and me? Don't tell Vanessa. I read it 3 times. Marcus had always been kind to me. Quiet, but kind. He called me Ma from the day he married Vanessa. He was the one who used to bring the grandkids by for surprise visits before those visits stopped happening. I typed back, "What do you mean there's more to this? What's going on, Marcus?" The 3 dots appeared immediately. He was waiting for my response. His reply came fast. "Not over text. Can you meet me tomorrow? There's a coffee shop on Madison Street near the library. Bernie's Coffee. 10 a.m. My mind was racing. What could Marcus possibly need to tell me that he couldn't say in front of Vanessa? I typed, "I'll be there." His response was just one word, "Good." I sat back in Robert's chair, my mind spinning with new questions on top of all the old ones. What was Marcus going to tell me? What did Vanessa not listen to him about anymore? What was more to this than I realized? I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that empty house, that cold living room, that clock ticking away the hours of my humiliation. But I also kept thinking about Marcus's message, the urgency in it, the secrecy. And underneath all of it, a new feeling was growing. Not just hurt anymore, not just confusion. Anger. Real, hot, justified anger. My daughters had done something unforgivable, and tomorrow I was going to start finding out why. The next morning, Black Friday, I woke up at 6 a.m., even though my body ached from sitting on that couch for so long yesterday. I made myself coffee and toast, forced myself to eat even though I wasn't hungry. I picked out my clothes carefully. Not the fancy blouse from yesterday, that was ruined with wrinkles and tear stains. Instead, I wore my good black pants and a simple purple sweater. I wanted to look put together, strong, not like some confused old woman. I arrived at Bernie's Coffee at 9:45 a.m., 15 minutes early. I ordered tea. My hands were shaking too much for coffee and sat at a corner table where I could see the door. At exactly 10 a.m., Marcus walked in. He looked terrible, tired, stressed, like he hadn't slept either. He saw me, gave a small wave, ordered coffee, and joined me at the table. "Ma," he said, sitting down heavily, "I'm so sorry about yesterday. I'm so sorry." "Tell me what's going on, Marcus," I said. My voice was steady, but my heart was pounding. "Tell me the truth." He looked around the coffee shop, like he was checking to make sure no one we knew was there. Then he leaned forward and lowered his voice. "Vanessa didn't accidentally forget to tell you that dinner was at Rochelle's house," he said. "She did it on purpose. She and Rochelle both. They planned it." Even though I'd suspected this, hearing it confirmed felt like a punch to the stomach. "But why?" I whispered. "Why would they do that to me?" Marcus rubbed his face with both hands. He looked like he was carrying the weight of the world. "Because," he said slowly, "they wanted to teach you a lesson." "A lesson? What kind of lesson?" "They're angry with you, Ma. They have been for a while, and yesterday was their way of, I don't know, punishing you, I guess." My hands gripped my teacup, so hard I thought it might shatter. "Angry with me? For what? What did I do?" Marcus looked at me with something like pity in his eyes. "They say you're too needy, too dependent, that you're always asking to see the grandkids, always wanting to be included, always texting and calling. They say it's exhausting. They say they need space." Each word was like a knife. Too needy, too dependent, exhausting. "I'm their mother," I said, my voice cracking. "I just want to be part of their lives. I just want to see my grandchildren. Is that so terrible?" "No, Ma, it's not terrible. It's normal. It's what families do. But Vanessa and Rochelle, they see it differently. They think you're being clingy. They think you need to respect their boundaries." He said those last words with air quotes, like he didn't agree with them. "So they sent me to an empty house. They let me sit there for 6 hours. That's how they teach me about boundaries." "I told Vanessa it was cruel," Marcus said, his voice rising slightly. I told her this was going too far, but she said you needed to understand that you can't just expect them to include you in everything. She said this would send a message. A message? They sent me a message, all right. The message was, we don't want you. I felt tears starting again, but this time, they were angry tears. What about you? I asked Marcus. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you warn me? He looked ashamed. I know I should have, but Vanessa, she made me promise not to. She said if I told you she'd. He stopped. She'd what? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, she'd make things difficult for me and the kids. She's been different lately, Ma, harder, meaner, not just to you, to all of us. This was new information. Vanessa being mean to Marcus and the kids. What do you mean? I asked. Marcus hesitated. I could see him debating how much to tell me. Then he said something that changed everything. Ma, there's something else you need to know, something bigger, something that explains all of this, but I can't tell you here. Can you come somewhere with me? Right now. The way he said it, the urgency, the fear in his eyes, made my blood run cold. Where? I asked. To a storage unit, about 20 minutes from here. There's something I need to show you, something Vanessa doesn't know I have. Marcus, you're scaring me. What is it? He reached across the table and took my hand. His palm was sweating. Ma, I love Vanessa. She's my wife, the mother of my children. But she's doing something that's not right, something that involves you, and you deserve to know the truth. My mind was racing with possibilities. What could be in a storage unit? What could Vanessa be doing? Okay, I said, let's go. We left the coffee shop and got into Marcus's car. As we drove, he was silent. His jaw was clenched. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. I wanted to ask more questions, but something told me to wait, to let him show me whatever it was. We pulled up to a storage facility on the edge of town. Marcus used a code to get through the gate, then drove to a unit in the back. Unit 347. He parked, got out, and unlocked the rolling door. Inside was furniture, boxes, old things. I don't understand, I said. What am I looking at? Marcus walked to the back corner and pulled out a large cardboard box. He set it down in front of me and opened it. Inside were papers, documents, files. Start with this one, he said, handing me a folder. I opened it. It was a bank statement, in my name, for an account I didn't recognize. The balance showed $847,000. I stared at it, read it again. The numbers didn't make sense. Marcus, what is this? This isn't my account. I don't have this kind of money. Yes, you do, Ma, he said quietly. Or you did. That account was set up by your husband, Robert, before he died. It was his life insurance policy, his savings, his investments. Everything he worked for. He left it all to you. My hands started shaking. But I never knew about this. Nobody told me. When Robert died, they said there was no money, just enough for the funeral and a little bit left over. That's what Vanessa told me. Marcus's face was grim. Vanessa lied to you, Ma. She's been lying to you for 4 years. The storage unit started spinning. I had to sit down on a box. She's been controlling that account, Marcus continued. She had you sign power of attorney papers right after Robert died, remember? You were grieving, confused. She said it was to help manage your affairs. But what she really did was take control of everything Robert left you. I remembered signing those papers. Vanessa had brought them to me a week after the funeral. I was so lost in grief I could barely function. She said it would make things easier, that she'd take care of the complicated financial stuff so I didn't have to worry. I trusted her. She's been taking money from this account, I asked. For 4 years, Marcus said. Look at these. He handed me more papers, bank statements going back years, showing withdrawal after withdrawal, thousands of dollars at a time. Where did it go? I whispered. Their house, the new cars, Rochelle's home renovation, private school for the kids, vacations, all of it paid for with your money Robert left for you, for your care, for your future. I couldn't breathe. That's why they've been pulling away from you, Marcus continued, his voice bitter now. They're guilty. They know what they're doing is wrong, and it's easier to push you away than to face what they've done. I looked up at him, tears streaming down my face. How long have you known? I asked. I found out 6 months ago. I confronted Vanessa. We've been fighting about it ever since. She says she's borrowing it. That she'll pay it back, but Ma, he knelt down in front of me. There's almost nothing left. The account is nearly empty. Whatever happens next, you need to know the truth. I looked down at the papers in my hands, at the evidence of my daughter's betrayal. And suddenly, everything made sense. The distance, the excuses, the cruelty of Thanksgiving. They weren't pushing me away because I was too needy. They were pushing me away because they were thieves. My own daughters had stolen my future, Robert's legacy, everything we'd worked for. And they'd made me feel like I was the problem. I stood up slowly. My whole body felt numb. I need copies of all of this, I said. My voice sounded strange, calm, cold. Marcus nodded. I made copies. They're in this other box. Everything you need. Bank statements, the power of attorney papers, withdrawal records, all of it. He helped me carry the boxes to his car. We drove back to Bernie's Coffee in silence. Before I got out, Marcus turned to me. Ma, I'm sorry. I should have told you sooner. I was scared of losing my family, but watching what they did to you yesterday, I couldn't stay quiet anymore. You deserve better. I looked at this man, my son-in-law, who showed me more loyalty than my own daughters. Thank you, Marcus, I said. You did the right thing. As I took the bus home, carrying those boxes of evidence, my mind was clear for the first time in days. My daughters thought they'd sent me a message on Thanksgiving. But I had a message for them. And they were going to hear it very, very soon. Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, like, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I spent the entire weekend in my apartment, going through every single paper Marcus had given me. Every bank statement, every withdrawal, every lie. The numbers were staggering. Robert's life insurance policy, $500,000, gone. His pension payout, $180,000, gone. Our savings account, the one we'd built up over 46 years of marriage, $167,000, gone. All of it drained systematically over 4 years by my own daughters. I made a list, a detailed, careful list of every withdrawal, every date, every amount. I matched them up with things I remembered. December 2020, $45,000 withdrawn. That was when Vanessa bought her new SUV. She told me she'd gotten a great deal on financing. March 2021, $60,000 withdrawn. Rochelle's kitchen renovation. She said her husband got a bonus at work. July 2021, $8,500 withdrawn. The family trip to Disney World. They didn't invite me, said it was just for the kids. On and on and on. Every nice thing they'd bought, every upgrade, every luxury, all paid for with money that should have been mine. Money Robert worked himself into an early grave to save. And while they were spending my money, where was I? In this tiny apartment, riding the bus because I couldn't afford a car, shopping at thrift stores, splitting my blood pressure pills in half to make them last longer because the full prescription was too expensive. There was one withdrawal that made me physically sick. October 2023, last month, $12,000. I pulled up my text messages from that time. There it was, a message from me to Vanessa. Baby, I hate to ask, but my roof is leaking and the landlord won't fix it. The water is dripping into my bedroom. I'm putting pots on the floor to catch it. Do you think you could lend me $800 to hire someone? I'll pay you back little by little. Vanessa's response, Mama, we're really tight on money right now. Marcus's company is doing layoffs and we're worried about his job. I wish I could help, but we just can't spare it. Maybe ask Rochelle. I had asked Rochelle. She said the same thing. Money was tight. So I lived with that leak for 3 more weeks until the landlord finally sent someone. My bedroom carpet was ruined. Some of my clothes got moldy. I had to throw them away. And the same week, Vanessa told me she couldn't spare $800. She withdrew $12,000 from my account. $12,000. While her mother slept with pots on the floor catching rainwater. I sat there on my living room floor, surrounded by papers, and I felt something I'd never felt before. Not just anger, not just hurt. Rage. Pure, clean, burning rage. My phone rang. It was Vanessa. She'd been calling all weekend, so had Rochelle. I hadn't answered. This time, I picked up. Mama, finally, where have you been? We've been so worried. Vanessa's voice was high-pitched, dramatic, fake concern. Have you? I said. My voice was flat. Of course we have. You disappeared on Thanksgiving and you haven't answered our calls. We thought something happened to you. Something did happen to me, I said. What happened? Are you okay? No, Vanessa, I'm not okay. I need to talk to you and your sister, in person, tomorrow. There was a pause. Tomorrow, Mama, tomorrow's Monday. We have work, the kids have school. Can't we just talk now? No, this needs to be in person. Both of you, tomorrow at 2 p.m. at my apartment. Mama, what's this about? You're scaring me. I almost laughed. I was scaring her. Just be here, both of you. 2 p.m., don't be late. I hung up before she could argue. Then I called Rochelle and told her the same thing. She tried to ask questions too. I gave her the same answer. 2 p.m. tomorrow, be there. After I hung up, I sat back and took a deep breath. Then I made another call, to a lawyer. I found her online, Patricia Chen. She specialized in elder financial abuse. Her website said free consultation for seniors. I called and left a message. She called me back within an hour. I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Mrs. Williams, what your daughters did is called financial exploitation of an elderly person. It's not just wrong. It's illegal. In this state, it's a felony. A felony. My daughters were criminals. What can I do? I asked. You have options, Patricia said. You can report this to the police. You can sue them in civil court. You can revoke the power of attorney and try to recover what's left, or you can do all three. What would you recommend? First, we meet, tomorrow if possible. You bring all the documentation, I review it. Then we decide on the best course of action. But Mrs. Williams, I need to be honest with you. This is going to be painful. These are your daughters. If you pursue this legally, it will destroy your relationship with them. They already destroyed it, I said quietly. They destroyed it when they stole from me, when they lied to me, when they sent me to an empty house on Thanksgiving. Then let's get you justice, Patricia said. We scheduled an appointment for Tuesday morning, after my meeting with my daughters. That night I barely slept, but it wasn't anxiety keeping me awake, it was planning. I thought about what I would say, how I would say it, what I wanted from them. And I realized something important. I didn't want their money back. I mean, yes, I wanted the money. I deserved it. Robert had left it for me. But what I really wanted was for them to admit what they'd done, to feel the weight of it, to understand that they'd betrayed their own mother in the worst possible way. I wanted them to hurt the way I'd hurt. Monday morning, I woke up early. I cleaned my apartment until it was spotless. I wanted them to see that I wasn't falling apart, that I was still here, still standing. I made coffee and set out 3 cups on my small kitchen table. Then I arranged the papers, 3 stacks, 1 for each of us. At exactly 2 p.m., there was a knock on my door. I opened it. Vanessa and Rochelle stood there, looking uncomfortable. They were dressed in their work clothes. Vanessa in a business suit, Rochelle in a blouse and slacks. They looked successful, put together, rich. Rich on my money. Come in, I said. They exchanged a glance, one of those silent sister communications, and walked in. Mama, what's going on? Rochelle asked. You sounded so serious on the phone. Sit down, I said, pointing to the kitchen table. They sat. I remained standing. Mama, you're making us nervous, Vanessa said with a forced laugh. What's this about? I picked up one of the stacks of papers and dropped it in front of Vanessa. Then I dropped the second stack in front of Rochelle. This is about theft, I said. This is about lies. This is about what you've both been doing to me for the past 4 years. Vanessa's face went pale. She looked down at the papers, then back up at me. What is this? Bank statements, I said calmly. From the account Robert left me, the account you've been draining since the day he died. The color drained from Rochelle's face, too. Mama, I can explain, Vanessa started. Don't, I said, my voice sharp. Don't you dare. I don't want to hear your explanations. I don't want to hear your excuses. I want to hear the truth. Did you take my money? Yes or no? Silence. Yes or no, I shouted. They both flinched. Yes, Vanessa whispered. Yes, Rochelle echoed. I nodded slowly. How much is left in that account? More silence. How much is left? About $23,000, Vanessa said, her voice barely audible. Out of $847,000, they'd left me $23,000. I felt dizzy. I gripped the back of my chair. Why? I asked. Why did you do this to me? Vanessa looked up at me, and there were tears in her eyes, but I didn't care about her tears anymore. We needed it, Mama, she said. We had expenses. The house, the kids' schools, everything cost so much. So you stole from your mother, I said. You took the money your father worked his whole life to save, the money that was supposed to take care of me in my old age. We were going to pay you back, Rochelle said, jumping in. We always planned to pay you back. With what? I asked. You've had 4 years, where's my money? They looked at each other, no answer. And Thanksgiving, I said, my voice shaking now. Was that part of the plan too? Send me to an empty house, let me sit there for 6 hours, make me feel worthless and forgotten. Vanessa's tears were flowing now. Mama, that was wrong. I know it was wrong, I couldn't face you. I felt so guilty about the money and you kept calling and texting and I just needed space. Space, I repeated. You needed space from your mother, so you humiliated her. That's your solution. We didn't mean for it to be like that, Rochelle said. We thought you'd figure it out sooner and just come to my house. Figure it out? You told me to come at 10:30 in the morning. You knew I'd be sitting there for hours. They both started crying in earnest now. Big, dramatic tears. And I felt nothing. Nothing but cold, hard clarity. Mama, please, Vanessa sobbed. We're so sorry. We'll make this right. We'll pay you back every penny. Just please, please don't hate us. We're still your daughters. I looked at these two women, these strangers with familiar faces. Are you, I asked quietly, are you still my daughters? Because my daughters, the ones I raised, would never do this. My daughters knew about loyalty, about family, about doing the right thing even when it's hard. Mama, I'm not finished, I said. You want to know what the worst part is? It's not even the money. It's that you made me feel like I was the problem, like I was too needy, too clingy, too much. You made me apologize for wanting to be part of your lives. You made me beg for scraps of your time. And all along, you were the ones who should have been ashamed. I walked over to my purse and pulled out a business card. Patricia Chen, attorney at law. I put it on the table. This is my lawyer, I said. She specializes in elder financial abuse. We're meeting tomorrow to discuss my options. Those options include criminal charges and civil lawsuits. Vanessa gasped. Mama, no, please, we'll go to jail. You should go to jail, I said. What you did is a felony. Please, Rochelle was begging now. Please don't do this. Think about the kids. Think about what this will do to them. I am thinking about the kids, I said. I'm thinking about how their mothers are teaching them that it's okay to steal from family, that it's okay to lie, that it's okay to abuse people who love you. Maybe they need to learn a different lesson. Mama will do anything, Vanessa said. Anything you want. We'll sell our houses. We'll get loans. We'll pay you back. Just please don't go to the police. I looked at them both, really looked at them. And then I said something I never thought I'd say to my own children. I don't know if I can forgive you. I don't know if I even want to. The room went silent, except for their crying. Then Rachel said something that made my blood run cold. If you do this, she said, her voice suddenly harder, if you press charges, you'll never see your grandchildren again. Ever. We'll make sure of it. I stared at her. Are you threatening me? I'm telling you the consequences, she said. You want to destroy this family? Fine, but you'll lose everything, your daughters, your grandchildren, all of it. Vanessa put her hand on Rachel's arm. Rachel, don't. No, Rachel said, shaking her off. She needs to understand. Family forgives each other, Mama. Family works things out privately. You go to the police, you go to lawyers, and you're choosing strangers over your own blood. The audacity, the sheer audacity of this woman. I'm choosing strangers over my blood, I repeated slowly. You stole from me, you lied to me, you humiliated me, and I'm the one breaking the family apart. We made mistakes, Rachel shouted. People make mistakes, but you don't send your own children to prison for mistakes. These weren't mistakes, I said. This was 4 years of calculated theft, 4 years of looking me in the eye and lying, 4 years of letting me struggle while you lived off my money. I picked up my phone. Get out, I said. Mama, Vanessa reached for me. Get out of my house, now. They stood up slowly. Vanessa was still crying. Rachel's face was hard, angry. At the door, Vanessa turned back. Mama, please, sleep on this. Don't do anything tomorrow, just think about it, please. I closed the door in her face. Then I locked it. I stood there, leaning against that door, my heart pounding. And then I heard it. Voices in the hallway, Vanessa and Rachel arguing. This is your fault, Rachel hissed. That stupid Thanksgiving thing was your idea and now she knows everything. My fault. You're the one who just threatened her. You're the one who said she'd never see the grandkids. Well, it's true. What did you think would happen? That she'd find out we stole almost $1 million and just forgive us. Their voices faded as they walked toward the elevator. I stood there, shaking. Then I walked over to my phone, and I did something I'd never done before. I blocked both their numbers. No more calls, no more texts, no more lies. I sat down in Robert's chair and closed my eyes. I'm sorry, baby, I whispered to my dead husband. I'm sorry I let them do this to us, but I'm going to make it right, I promise. That night, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Mrs. Williams, a young woman's voice. Yes. This is Asia, your granddaughter. My heart stopped. Asia, baby, how did you? I borrowed my friend's phone. Mom took mine away because I tried to call you. Mrs. Williams, I heard them talking. I heard what they did. I just wanted you to know. I'm so sorry, and I love you. And whatever you decide to do, I understand. They were wrong. What they did was wrong. Tears streamed down my face. Thank you, baby, I whispered. That means more than you know. I have to go before they catch me, Asia said quickly. But I wanted you to know you're not alone, and you deserve better. She hung up. I sat there in the dark, crying. But these weren't tears of sadness. These were tears of resolution. Tomorrow, I would meet with Patricia Chen. And whatever happened next, I would face it knowing that I'd done the right thing. Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, like, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Tuesday morning came with rain. I watched it from my window, remembering how Robert used to say rain was good luck. Washes away the old, makes room for the new, he'd tell me. I hoped he was right. I had my appointment with Patricia Chen at 10 a.m. I got dressed carefully, my good black pants, a cream sweater, my coat. I packed all the documents into a folder and headed out. Patricia's office was in a small building downtown. Professional but not fancy. That made me trust her more somehow. She was younger than I expected, maybe 40, with kind eyes and a firm handshake. "Mrs. Williams," she said, "please sit down. Can I get you coffee, tea?" "Water would be nice," I said. She brought me a bottle of water and sat across from me at her desk. "I've been thinking about your case since our phone call," she said. "I want you to know up front, you have every legal right to pursue criminal charges and civil recovery. What your daughters did is absolutely prosecutable." "But," I said, I could hear the but coming. "But," she continued gently, "I always tell my clients to think beyond just the legal outcome. What do you really want here? Justice? Money? Accountability? Relationship repair? Because different goals require different approaches." I sat with that question. What did I want? "I want them to understand what they did," I said slowly. "I want them to feel it, really feel it, not just say sorry because they got caught." Patricia nodded. "And the money?" "I need some of it back," I admitted. "Not for luxury, for survival. My rent is $950 a month. My medications cost $300. I'm 73 years old. I can't work anymore. What they left me, $23,000, that's not enough to live on for the rest of my life." "Understood," Patricia said. She pulled out a legal pad. "Here's what I'm thinking. We don't need courts to make this right. In fact, courts are slow, expensive, and emotionally devastating. What we need is leverage." "Leverage?" She smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was a strategic smile. "Your daughters are terrified right now. They know what they did. They know the consequences. That fear is leverage. We use it to negotiate a settlement that gives you what you need without destroying everyone in the process." "How?" Patricia leaned forward. "We draft a formal restitution agreement. They pay back a set amount on a payment plan, something aggressive but manageable. We include terms, regular payments, no contact unless you initiate it, and most importantly, a clause that if they miss even one payment, you reserve the right to pursue criminal charges." "Can we do that? Make an agreement like that?" "Absolutely. It's called a civil settlement with a criminal complaint held in abeyance. Basically, you agree not to press charges as long as they meet the terms. They mess up, all bets are off." I thought about it. It made sense, but something was missing. "That handles the money," I said. "But what about the rest, the lying, the cruelty, Thanksgiving?" Patricia was quiet for a moment. "Mrs. Williams, can I be honest with you?" "Please." "Some wounds don't heal with legal agreements. Some things require something deeper. You're not just dealing with theft here. You're dealing with broken trust, broken relationships, broken love. No contract can fix that." "Then what can?" She set down her pen and looked at me with those kind eyes. "Truth," she said simply. "Real, uncomfortable, complete truth. They need to sit with what they've done. Not just apologize to make you feel better or to avoid consequences. They need to understand the full weight of their actions. And then they need to do the work to change, if they're capable of it. And if they're not, then at least you'll know, and you can move forward accordingly." We spent the next 2 hours drafting the agreement. Patricia was thorough, every detail accounted for. The terms were clear. Total restitution, $400,000, not everything, but enough to secure my future. Payment plan, $5,000 per month for 80 months, just under 7 years. Split between Vanessa and Rochelle, $2,500 each per month. First payment due, 2 weeks from signing. Consequence for missed payment, criminal charges filed immediately. Additional terms, they were prohibited from contacting me unless I initiated contact first. No manipulation, no using the grandchildren as leverage, no showing up at my apartment unannounced. It was harsh, it was necessary. "Will they agree to this?" I asked. "They will if they're smart," Patricia said. "Because the alternative is prison time and losing everything, their jobs, their reputations, their freedom. This gives them a chance to make it right. Whether they take it is up to them." She printed out 3 copies of the agreement and put them in an envelope. "What you do now is send this to both of them. Certified mail. Give them 3 days to review it. Then we schedule a meeting with me present where they can sign it or refuse it. If they refuse, we go straight to the police. I took the envelope. It felt heavy, heavier than paper should feel. "Thank you," I said. "How much do I owe you?" "First consultation is free," Patricia said. "If they sign the agreement, my fee is built into what they pay back. If they don't sign and we pursue criminal charges, we'll discuss rates then. But Mrs. Williams, regardless of what happens, you're doing the right thing. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting yourself." I left her office, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Power. Not power over my daughters, power over my own life, my own future. I went to the post office and sent the agreements. Certified mail, signature required, to Vanessa's house, to Rochelle's house. Then I went home, and I waited. The next day, my phone rang. An unknown number. I answered. "You're really doing this," Rochelle's voice, cold, hard. "I am." "You're choosing money over your family." "No," I said calmly. "You chose money over family. I'm just choosing survival." She hung up. An hour later, Vanessa called from an unknown number. "Mama, please, this payment plan, we can't afford this. $2,500 a month. That's our car payments, our mortgage money." "Then you'll figure it out," I said. "Sell one of your cars, downsize your house, get second jobs. I don't care how you do it. You found a way to spend my money. Now find a way to pay it back." "But Mama..." "Those are the terms, Vanessa. You have 2 days left to decide. Sign the agreement or I call the police. Your choice." I hung up. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was anxious, because I kept thinking about what Patricia had said. Some things require something deeper. Truth, real truth. The agreement would handle the money, but what about everything else? I got out of bed, and I did something I hadn't done since Robert died. I wrote a letter. Not a text, not an email. A real letter in my own handwriting on real paper. But not to my daughters. To my grandchildren. Dear Asia and Jordan, by the time you read this, you'll probably know what happened between me and your mothers. You'll hear their version of events. You might hear that I'm being cruel or greedy or unforgiving. I want you to hear my version too. Your grandfather, Robert, your papa, worked hard his whole life. He was a mechanic. He came home every night with grease under his fingernails and pain in his back. He worked overtime, weekends, holidays, not because he loved the work, because he loved us. He saved every extra dollar. He planned for the future, for retirement, for medical bills, for the day when we'd be too old to work and would need that money to survive. When he died, he left that money to me, to take care of me, so I wouldn't be a burden to anyone, so I could live with dignity in my old age. Your mothers took it, not all at once, slowly, over years, and they never told me. I'm not writing this to make you hate them. They're your mothers and you should love them, but I want you to understand something important. Love without honesty isn't love. It's manipulation. Family isn't just blood. It's trust. It's showing up. It's doing right by each other even when it's hard. What your mothers did to me wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Many choices, over and over again. And what I'm doing now, standing up for myself, isn't cruelty. It's survival. I want you both to learn something from this. I want you to learn that people can love you and still hurt you. That family can betray you. And that when they do, you have the right to protect yourself. I also want you to know that I love you. I always will. No matter what happens between me and your mothers, my love for you never changes. But I can't teach you that it's okay to be treated badly. I can't model that for you, because if I let this go, if I just forgive and forget without any real change, what am I teaching you? I'm teaching you that women, especially older women, should just accept mistreatment quietly. I'm teaching you that family can do anything to you, and you have to take it. I'm teaching you that your voice doesn't matter, your boundaries don't matter, your pain doesn't matter. And that's not a lesson I want to leave you with. So yes, I'm holding your mothers accountable. Yes, I'm making them pay back what they took. Yes, I'm setting boundaries. Because I matter. My life matters. What your grandfather worked for matters. And I hope someday you'll understand. I love you both more than words can say. With all my heart, your grandma Dorothy. I sealed the letter in an envelope and addressed it to Asia, care of Marcus. He would make sure she got it, and she would share it with Jordan when the time was right. Then I went to bed and slept better than I had in days. On Friday afternoon, the deadline day, my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole. Vanessa and Rochelle, they looked exhausted, defeated. I opened the door. "We'll sign," Vanessa said quietly. "We'll sign your agreement." "Patricia's office, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., I said. They nodded and turned to leave. "Wait," I said. They turned back. "I need to say something first, and you're going to listen." They stood there in the hallway, waiting. "You broke my heart," I said. My voice was steady, strong. "You didn't just steal money, you stole my dignity, my trust, my peace of mind. You made me feel worthless. You made me question myself. You made me think I was the problem when all along it was you." Vanessa started to cry. I kept talking. "I gave you everything. Everything I had. And you repaid me with lies and cruelty. You used my love against me. You took advantage of my grief. You betrayed your father's memory." "Mama, we know," Rochelle started. "I'm not finished," I said sharply. "You'll sign that agreement tomorrow. You'll make those payments. But that's just money. What I really want, what I need from you is to never lie to me again. Never. If you can't be honest with me, then don't talk to me at all. Do you understand?" They both nodded, tears streaming down their faces. "And one more thing," I said. "I'm not doing this to punish you. I'm doing this to teach you. To teach you that actions have consequences, that you can't just say sorry and move on. That real change requires real work. That I'm not just your mother, I'm a person. And I deserve respect." I stepped back and started to close the door. "Mama," Vanessa whispered, do you think you'll ever forgive us?" I looked at her, really looked at her. My firstborn, the baby I nursed and rocked and loved with my whole heart. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I hope so, but forgiveness isn't instant. It's not automatic. You have to earn it. Through time, through changed behavior, through proving that you understand what you did wrong and that you're different now." "How long will that take?" Rochelle asked. "As long as it takes," I said. "That's up to you." I closed the door. The next morning, Patricia and I met Vanessa and Rochelle at her office. They signed the agreement, both of them, without arguing. The first payment was due in 2 weeks. Patricia had set up an account specifically for this. Every payment would be tracked, documented. As they were leaving, Vanessa turned to me one last time. "Mama, I know we don't deserve it, but would it be okay if we sent you pictures of the kids so you don't miss out on their lives completely?" I thought about it. "Once a month," I said. "You can send me updates once a month, nothing more unless I ask for it." She nodded. "Thank you." They left. Patricia turned to me. "How do you feel?" "Like I can breathe again," I said. And it was true. For the first time in years, maybe since Robert died, I felt like I could take a full breath. Over the next few months, the payments came. On time, every time. $2,500 from Vanessa on the first of each month. $2,500 from Rochelle on the first of each month. I didn't spend it all. I put most of it into a new savings account, one only I had access to. I used some to move to a nicer apartment, one with no leaks and better heating. I bought myself a few things I'd been needing: new shoes, a warm winter coat, a comfortable reading chair. Simple things. Things I should have been able to afford all along with Robert's money. True to her word, Vanessa sent pictures once a month. Asia at her school dance, Jordan at his basketball game, little glimpses into their lives. I didn't respond every time. Sometimes I just looked at the pictures and felt the ache of missing them. Other times, I sent back a short message. Beautiful or so proud. Small steps. Then, in month 4, something changed. I got a letter in the mail, handwritten, from Asia. "Dear Grandma, I got your letter. Jordan and I both read it. We've read it like 10 times, actually. I want you to know that we understand. Mom cried when she told us what she did. She said she was ashamed. She said she didn't know how to make it right. I'm not excusing what she did. It was wrong, really wrong. But I wanted you to know that she's trying. She got a second job on weekends. She sold her car and bought a cheaper one. She's working really hard to make the payments. Aunt Rochelle, too. She's working extra hours. I know that doesn't fix everything. I know money isn't the real problem. But I wanted you to know they're trying. I also wanted to say thank you for teaching me that it's okay to stand up for yourself, even to family, especially to family. I used to think family meant you had to accept everything, no matter what. But you showed me that's not true. That real love includes boundaries, includes honesty. That's a really important lesson. I'm graduating high school next year. I know things are complicated, but would you want to come to my graduation? I would really like you to be there. Even if things aren't completely fixed with Mom yet, I still want my grandma there. I love you. Asia. I cried reading that letter. Good tears this time. I wrote back immediately. I'll be there, wouldn't miss it for the world. And I wouldn't. Because this slow, painful, honest rebuilding, this was real. Not the fake, surface-level stuff from before. Not the pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. This was messy and hard and complicated, but it was truth. And truth, I was learning, was the only foundation worth building on. 6 months after the agreement was signed, Vanessa asked if she could visit me. Just her, just for an hour. I said yes. She came to my new apartment on a Saturday afternoon. She brought flowers, pink roses, my favorite, and she sat across from me at my little kitchen table. Your apartment is nice, she said nervously. Much better than the old one. It is, I agreed. No leaks. She flinched at that. Good, she should remember. We sat in awkward silence for a moment. Then she said, Mama, I need to tell you something, and I need you to just listen. Can you do that? I nodded. She took a deep breath. I've been seeing a therapist, she said, since all this happened, because I needed to understand why I did what I did, why I thought it was okay. I stayed quiet, listening. The therapist helped me see that I was jealous, Vanessa continued, her voice shaking. Jealous of you and Daddy, of how close you were, of how much he loved you. And when he died, I was angry. Angry that you got all those years with him. Angry that you were the center of his world. Angry that even in death he took care of you first. She wiped her eyes. That doesn't excuse what I did. Nothing excuses it. But I needed you to know. It wasn't because you weren't enough. It was because I wasn't. I wasn't the daughter he wanted me to be. I wasn't the person I wanted to be. And instead of dealing with that, I took it out on you. I felt my own tears starting. And Thanksgiving, she whispered. That was the cruelest thing I've ever done. I knew you'd be sitting there waiting. I knew it would hurt you. And I did it anyway because I was a coward. Because facing you after everything I'd done felt impossible. So I avoided you in the worst way possible. She looked up at me, her face broken with genuine remorse. I can't take it back, she said. I can't undo the damage, but I'm working every day to be different, to be better, to be the daughter you deserved all along. I reached across the table and took her hand. Thank you, I said, for telling me the truth, finally. We sat there, holding hands, crying together. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, not completely. But it was something. It was a start. As Vanessa got up to leave, she paused at the door. Mama, do you think, someday, we could have Thanksgiving together again, all of us? I thought about it, really thought about it. Maybe, I said. Someday, when we're all ready, when trust is rebuilt, when I know it's real. She nodded. I'll wait, however long it takes. After she left, I sat in my reading chair and looked out the window. The sun was setting, golden light spilling across the sky. I thought about Robert, about what he'd say if he could see all this. And I knew he'd be proud of me. Not for being harsh, not for being unforgiving, but for being strong, for knowing my worth, for demanding better. Because that's what love really is. Not accepting everything, not forgiving everything, but standing firm in truth and giving people the chance to rise to meet it. My daughters had stolen from me, lied to me, hurt me in ways I'd never imagined. But they were also working to make it right, slowly, imperfectly, but genuinely. And that was all I could ask. The money would keep coming, the boundaries would hold, the truth would remain spoken. And somewhere down the road, maybe years from now, we'd sit around a Thanksgiving table again. But this time, it would be different. This time, it would be built on something real. Not obligation, not guilt, not pretense. But honest, hard-won, rebuilt from the ground-up love. And that, I thought, settling deeper into my chair as the last light faded, was worth waiting for. Dorothy Williams had taught her daughters one final lesson. That she mattered. That her life mattered. That her voice mattered. And that some things, truth, dignity, respect, were worth fighting for. Even when the fight was with the people you loved most. Especially then. If this story touched you, please subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell for more emotional stories like this. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Somewhere out there, I might be reading.